A 200 million Rand CEO told me this. What is up, you guys? Sage here. I am CEO founder of Legacy Africa, and I was one of only 40 entrepreneurs from the entire Bay Area, 1.6 million people, to be invited to the Zungu Investments Masterclass, um, in which there were multitude of esteemed panelists, um, currently active, multi-award winning, global award winning CEOs, including Mr. Sanjay Zungu himself, who's also the owner of Amazulu FC, currently a 200 million Rand plus CEO. I got to interact with him directly and extract some principles. And this video is the sharing of the highlights of some of those principles and some threads that tied through the entire thing. Enjoy. So out of this video, I would like you to capture some of these core principles that happen to be repeated all throughout their speeches, not intentionally is what I found, based on the acknowledgement that they were making that, oh, and so had touched on this. And yeah. So it's things that are just true about the journey. And the reason why I believe this is incredibly valuable is I believe the people who get what they want out of life do so because they see the world very clearly. They see the world as it is and not as they would like it to be. Right. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, two principles that Mr. Zungu touched on himself are hard work and integrity. Now, I know that this may seem like the generic piece of advice, but understand where this person comes from. This person literally comes from um, a township in South Africa, very minimal resources, studied his way through, got bursaries, was number one, number two, was always up there in terms of academically, and that's what afforded him the opportunities, and that's what um, set the stepping stones that became the career milestones eventually. So this hard work, or this principle of hard work, is not coming from a place of someone who hasn't gone through it and hasn't done it. It's not your generic, and I'll say this as well. Sometimes the piece of advice is only as valuable as the person who's giving it to you, is only as valuable as the source that is delivering it. It's 10% what is being said and 90% the context of who is saying it. That's why, if you can look back at a lot of my earlier content, I'm saying a lot of the same things that I was saying back then. But as I grow, the more I establish myself, the more these principles reign true. And so please, when someone in that prominent of a position is the one that's saying these kind of things, heed that. He could have said anything. He could have said the fanciest of things, tried to confuse all of us and left us there hanging. But he chose only two things to speak about, and that was hard work and integrity. There's no room for mistakes in terms of trying to make a quick buck. A reputation takes 20 years to build and 5 minutes to destroy, as Warren Buffett famously said. Um, I'll skim on to the next one. There will be a deeper dive into this in my proper video about what exactly happened, and I'll share through my entire notes, but that's on the scope of this video. Here, I want to give you guys um, a skim of the core principles that they each touched on. Um, and so work ethic, definitely. Integrity was a very massive one. The second speaker speaking mainly about personal brand, and they talked about ethics. That's also something that came up very often. Again, it ties back to what was being said by Mr. Zungu, which was integrity, ethics, being willing to put in the work. Uh, hmm. The best personal brand is to lead an ethical life. And so this goes to those principles of how, okay, I'll share a personal story. So for me, going from where I was last year, which was being a student, dabbling in entrepreneurship, to really giving it my all this year, and the things that, and the doors that have just opened themselves wide to me, I feel have been a result of my ethics. Because had I compromised in the positions where I could have, had I not given my all to this thing, had I not shown up to the meetings that I said I would show up to, regardless of what the circumstance was, like the meeting that begot the contact that eventually would lead me to being in this room came. I went to that meeting at a time where I was violently ill and I had every reason to just say no, to just buck out. I got lost on the way there, all that good stuff. But it is that pushing through and that showing up was a result of my ethos, was a result of the way that I believed about what it means to show up, what it means to make time, what it means to show up regardless of adversity and try your best to put your best foot forward, keep a positive attitude, and and show up in that way. Be acknowledged and known in that way to build that reputation. And you don't get the ammunition. I don't have the resources to show up to that place if I am behind the scenes also thinking about, oh, but I also need to go out this weekend. I also need to buy this and posture this and look like that. You have to be really realistically living this life, otherwise you will not see the results of someone that is completely living this life. So on a personal front, for me, it took a transformation personally from being someone who really believed about this and was applying myself at, say, a 70% to 120%, which is where I'm at now. And that meant for me, I don't go out anymore. Um I don't drink. I don't party. I don't womanize. I'm not out here with the girls and then trying to do this and that. I'm leading a life that is a leading indicator of the kind of person that you would ultimately like to be, and as it would seem, the type of person who does get to achieve a certain level of status. And I'm not saying that is the ultimate for everyone, but I'm saying if that's the ultimate for you, please consider ethics, consider integrity. In part three, they touched on, in order to earn respect from your peers, you have to work for it. Don't rush to take the hand down. What does that mean? What that means is, in the personal anecdote for them, they had left, worked somewhere else, and then they were coming back and they were being offered a partner position, right? So, for example, you leave as a manager, you go work on yourself, you come back and they offer you a position as partner. And he said, no, I would like to come back as a senior manager, perhaps, and work my way into partnership, because how are my peers going to respect me if I'm now going to be handed this position based on achievements that I had outside of this space? That's very, very important, because not too long ago, Horst Schulze, the founder of the Ritz Carlton, I saw this one on a podcast, in which he talked about doing the same kind of thing where he had left a company, done very well in another company. They bring him back in and they want to give him a regional manager position where he's managing the hotels in entire, say, in an entire state, or in an entire, like, whatever myriad. So maybe he'd have like 20 hotels under him all of a sudden. And mind you, he was a manager of one hotel before, and they want to promote him to a senior managerial position. And instead, he said, let me come back as a hotel manager first, for those same reasons. Because how are you going to earn the respect of your peers if you can be perceived to be handed the thing? I feel like that's a very, very important principle. You talk about earning respect from your peers, and notice that word again: you work for it. You work for it. So it all leads with hard work. It all goes back to, at the end of the day, you can't cheat the grind, you can't cheat life. At the end of the day, if you do show up and you do the things, then you will get the results of your doing. And if you don't do the things, then it just won't happen for you. Or at some point in time, the holes in your knowledge and your expertise will be exposed because you haven't done the work, then because you're not doing the work. Um, hmm. Speaker number four said, For 8 consecutive years, I saw no progress. That's something to me about belief. That's something to me about, and I can relate to that, because the change happens internally way before it happens externally. He said, for 8 consecutive years, I saw no progress. Mind you, and I noted this down specifically, 8 years of believing, 8 years of trying, 8 years of losing faith, regaining faith, being broken, building it. 8 years. Like on paper, it sounds like it's going by in a flashing minute, but think about it. That's 8 years of your life that you're spending really genuinely putting forth your best foot, and things not happening for you. And so again, you talk about the hard work, you talk about the resilience. I think that part is about the resilience. Speaker number 5 touched on ethics again, and I will I will add a very, very important one. Like they mentioned, the gift is not yours to keep. Not in so many words, but they talked about don't die with your gift. From that, I got the gift is not yours to keep. What does that mean? I literally always say this, that you are the vessel. You are the vessel that whatever you believe in has given you that gift to give to us, to give to the world. You're given that gift to share. The gift is not yours to keep. Don't die with your gift. Start that business, take that risk, do that thing, whatever it may be. But share your gift. Really, really share your gift. Apply yourself. Master the craft of what it is that you happen to be particularly gifted in. It's very, very important that you do this. It's very, very important that you do this. Um, And then finally, the last speaker spoke again on ethics. So notice that every single one of these people, if there's one thing that they talked about, there are two things in particular that I found were a string all throughout. Number one, ethics. Number two, partnership. Your business partners, you choose very, very carefully. Your life partner, you choose very, very carefully. Those are things that can literally make or break you. Um, Things that can literally make or break you. It is very, very important that you choose your partners wisely. So we talk about you cannot fail if you do not quit. You need to remember why you do it, and that's how you keep perspective. And we may not understand now, but don't stop. Meaning, whatever your dream is, whatever your vision is, we may not see it the way that you see it, and it's not ours to see. It's your gift. It's your dream. God gave it to you, and so manifest it and receive it. And in the moments when people don't understand, God said, God said to me, talk to the walls. He said, talk to the walls, man. For a long time, people are not gonna click on the video because you're not gonna be that good. But the only way you get good is by continuing to do it. He said to me, you're not gonna see the results of hours of studying. You're not gonna see the results of the thousands of hours of podcasts. You're not gonna see the results of um, many, many, many books that you've read. You're not going to see the results of any of those things. And then it happens not at all and then all at once. And so talk to the walls. Keep doing it. We may not understand you now, but one day it will make sense even to us. And so for me, that's about it for the six principles. So to recap, we talked about work ethic, we talked about ethics, um, ethics being the way that you believe about yourself. It's your moral standard in terms of what is correct and incorrect. And that is the definition of ethics. Um, we talked about not taking shortcuts. Again, reaffirming that the part about ethics. We talked about the importance of partnership, and within all of this, And there's so much more to share, and I promise you I will share when the time is right. Within all of this, I believe that the most important thing to note about these is there's nothing in here that you haven't heard already. Nothing. And they talk specifically about everything that there is to say, you've probably heard already. You know, you can have the best business plan with all the projections and this and that, but truly the the thing that gets it done is you. You can say work ethic all you want, but if you don't work, it won't happen. You can preach ethics all you want, but if you don't lead an ethical life, it will catch you at some point. And all these principles, these nuggets are reaffirming to the way that I am choosing to live my life at this early stage, knowing that you're headed in the right direction when you carry these these golden nuggets, when you carry these core truths. You know, when you speak to someone that is 20, 30, 40 years ahead of you in the same game, and they speak the same core principles that you have believed and have been living by, that have gotten you to that room to begin with, it is affirming of core truth. It is affirming that, oh, what I believe is true and I must stand by it. And that's the most important part that can come of any of this. If you take one thing away, is there are these core truths. These core truths do exist, but the only thing that's going to get it done is you. The only thing ultimately you, and all this is about finding ways. It's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. It's about believing about yourself, believing in your vision, believing in your dream. And if you can picture a world in which you give up, then ask yourself, why even start? If giving up is an option, why even start? You know, pick a thing that is powerful enough to you to remind you, ground you, give you that perspective, and allow you to continue to press forward, because times will be hard. It will take a really long time. But at the end of the process, you may find that you have become the kind of person who has earned a certain place and a certain keep. And fortunately or unfortunately, the results are the only proof. Unfortunately, there will be no evidence that you tried. There will be no evidence that you were giving 100%. There will be no evidence of that. The results will be the only indicator. And any and every excuse that you could have outside of that, the best that that could be is soothing to you, soothing to the people around you, perhaps. I don't know. But what it won't do is get you the result, whatever the excuse is. One thing that it definitely won't do is get you the result at the end of the day. So keep that in mind. Keep plugging away. Thank you for watching. If you did in fact enjoy the video, please hit subscribe. If you're an entrepreneur, specifically a student entrepreneur, Legacy Africa, you can tap in with us. It is an online platform. It's a combination between Linktree and LinkedIn. So entrepreneurs in general, if you're willing to work with, collaborate with student entrepreneurs, provide some opportunities, receive some services, whatever the case may be, then Legacy Africa is the platform for that. I thank you for watching. I have been Sage, standing on business. Signing out.